The art and the culture were the work of the Homo sapiens, and the people in this era were nomads. They used to hunt using sticks and stone weapons, daggers, harpoons, and blowguns. Then was the end of the Ice Age, making a bridge between Paleolithic and Neolithic, and the development of agriculture and fishing. Then we have to see the Stone Age, because the stones are starting to be referred as megaliths, and they are located in many countries around the world.
Hi, I'm Cleopatra, and Egypt is near the Nile River and is supposed to create goddess like Maat. Egyptians made a lot of contributions to art and society, like the pyramids, that they are the most famous structure and they are the symbol of afterlife. The preoccupation of Egyptians for the afterlife was central in the way of thinking.
So, they were very careful in every aspect of the process of mummification. And this process lasts up to 72 days, and all the organs were removed except for the heart.
Egyptians made the Palace of Narmer in a lot of Egyptian sculptures.
Talking about the Palette of Narmer is one of the most representative relief in Egyptian culture, and it is an interpretation of the human body. And also, Egyptian sculptors establish the more important the personage represented, the more rigorously the conventions were observed.
Hi, my name is Nanar and I am the god of the moon. And I am going to introduce you Mesopotamia. But first of all, do you know what is the meaning of Mesopotamia? Let me tell you. Mesopotamia means land between lands. And this is because Mesopotamia is situated between the Tigris and the Euphrates River. And also, if you didn't know, it was near the Nile River. Mesopotamia is well known for creating the first monumental temples, systems, government, and city-states.
The gods of Mesopotamia tend to reflect the nature, and they are Anu, Enlil, Ea, of course, me, Nanar, Smash, and Ishtar.
Mesopotamia also created a system called cuneiform, which means form of the witch, making things with system, great legal document, and then literature was developed through time. Also, Mesopotamians created a new legal system called Hammurabi's Code, which was discovered in 1792 to 1750 before Christ and was rediscovered in 1901.
Hello, people of the future. I'm here to tell you about one of the richest cultures that ever exists, the Greeks. We, the Greeks, developed democracy, not like those barbarians of the Romans that are gaining power of territories and politics. Ugh, I hate those guys. They think they can get away with appropriating our culture just because they're gaining political powers and territory, like they could. We, the Greeks, are very famous for our intelligence and philosophy. We had some great thinkers, such as Aristoteles, and we're also famous for our gods.
Here are the images of our gods. The upper names are the copy, the Roman version of them, and the ones down are the original, the Greek ones. These are just some of our beautiful gods. Poseidon, god of the sea. Zeus, god of the sky, lightning, and thunder. Hephaestus, god of fire. Athena, god of wisdom, law and justice, and war. Hermes, god of trade, thieves, and travelers. Apollo, god of music, poetry, oracles, art, and many, many more. Ares, he will be a favorite of the Romans, as he is the god of war and they are barbarians. Hades, death, riches are just some of the things he's god of, but he's also the king of the underworld.
Well, hello there. I know you just heard those pretentious Greeks tell you that we copied them. We're the Romans, if you don't know that, you should. But they're just jealous because we took over their territory and their politics because we're very powerful and we were, as they call us, barbarians. And I know they say we copied them, but we just took a little inspiration in their gods and their culture. But we are way better and way more powerful. We are the owners of the Mediterranean. We had advances in architecture and engineering, such as the aqueducts. Look at them, they're beautiful.
The main reason the aqueducts were created was the huge need of water a growing empire has, as water is the essence of a civilization. Aqueducts supplied water to public baths, entrines, fontaines, and private households. The water moved by gravity along a slight, overall downward gradient within conducts of concrete, stone, and bricks. The steeper the gradient, the faster the flow.
And some buildings to honor our beautiful gods. We had some of the strongest military and war forces. We were also ruled by emperors and had four types of classes. We had the aristocrats, the equestrians, the common citizens, and the slaves. Our gods were some of the strongest ones, and our favorites were we had Jupiter, the strongest of them all, and the most powerful god of them. Then there was Pluto. He was the god of the underworld. He could banish your soul. There was also Neptune, that was the god of the sea and the earthquakes. And I couldn't forget Mars. He was the god of war. He was a favorite.
China was the center of the art and culture of East Asia. When the army of Qin Shi Huang conquered six kingdoms, Qi, Shu, Yan, Han, Cao, and Wei, it became the first dynasty with an emperor, Qin himself. To understand the art and culture of the civilization, we have to define first three philosophical cultures that were Taoism, Confucianism, and Buddhism. Taoism intended to create peace with the Tao. This philosophical and religious system that influenced a lot Chinese government. The most important poem of Taoism is the Tao Te Ching that influenced paintings, pottery, and literature. Another important movement is Confucianism. Confucianism has a more ethical approach to philosophy, that is, to expand that sense of justice and the proper way to be in society. Another great philosophical culture was Buddhism, although it was from India, founded by Siddhartha Gautama, better known as Buddha, that translated means the awakened one or the enlightened. Buddhism intends to discover the real things and leave behind suffering from material things. The first important work written about Chinese painting was the Six Canons of Painting by He Zhiho, where he demonstrates 6 elements to judge and criticize painting.
Animation through spirit consonance that represents the spirit of the painting. A structural method in the use of the brush that looks for the use of the brush. Fidelity to the object in portraying forms refers if the object looks real or not. Conformity to kind applying colors. Colors and its variations should have an interlogic. Proper planning in the placing of elements, with elements in order. Transmission of the experience of the past in making copies. Venerate the past and what have been done.
Admonition scroll attributed to Ku Kai Shin demonstrates the behavior of ladies in the palace. This painting is one of the most famous in China.
Persian civilization was located in the east of Mesopotamia, where today is Iran. During the kingdom of King Cyrus in the 6th century, the Persians were considered a really strong empire. An interesting fact about Persian architecture is that they model their columns after the Greeks. You can find these columns in buildings of the Achaemenid Empire, which was the first Persian empire. An example of this is the Apadana Palace. Persian architecture consisted on big palaces with simple designs. They portrayed animals such as birds and ibixes that were shown in vessels or rifles. Persian sculpture survived throughout the years because of reliefs. The figure stands out from a flat surface that has two different forms, one very stylized and another more realistic. Example we can find about these reliefs is the statue of Shapur I found in Shapur Cave. To define the art and culture, we have to define four concepts first. Dharma. That means natural world is the searching for peace and harmony, to have integrity and righteousness with life, to live in a correct and ethical way. Artha means wealth or property, refers to the search of having material things. Kama was the god of love in Indian mythology. This word refers to the emotions that we feel on earth that attach us to this life. And moksha. This means freedom, the liberation from the constant cycle of the death and samsara when the soul tries to find freedom from the things done in the past. These concepts are seen in Hindu temples because they have four sculptures that reflects them. Art is not only religious but senses. Artistic images would represent a deity in different situations. Example of this is in a temple dedicated to Vishnu, where it's common that you can find different incarnations that Vishnu suffered. If you find a temple of Shiva, you can find in combative feats, or if you find a temple of Devi or the great goddess, you can find her defeating demons. One of the most famous and representative is the statue of Shiva, presented as Shiva, the Lord of Dance.